Welcome back to the Behind the Print podcast, where we feature industry leaders and uncover the creative minds and their businesses within the world of professional printing. Our mission is to provide you with inspiring, actionable resources that elevate your business projects and accelerate your journey to excellence in profit and in print. Today's episode is Making Everyday Halloween, and joining me here today is the owner and publisher of Spooky Little Halloween, Miranda Enzor. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey Connor, thanks so much for having me. Happy Halloween.
Well, we're happy to have you joining us. We appreciate you printing with us. Your stuff always comes out looking pretty good. So if you're ready, let's just dive right into it. Sound good?
Yeah, let's go.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so for the last decade, I have been running a year-round Halloween blog, which probably sounds a little offbeat, but it's a really fun side creative project that I do in addition to my full-time job as a content manager. And I started it honestly just as a site to document my Halloween parties I was throwing 10 years ago. And it just kind of grew into this accidental lifestyle blog. I just hit the market at the right point where there was a lot of interest in that. And I have a print journalism background as well. So kind of when I got to a certain point with the blog and I was like, okay, how can we like level this up, take it in another direction? I thought, well, why don't we just like go back? People love Halloween magazines, so why don't we just throw it back to printed Halloween magazines? And I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and it's gone really, really well.
Hmm. Tell me about the content that Spooky Little Halloween produces in your magazine.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great Halloween magazines out there that you could probably find in the grocery store. One of the things that I feel like sets mine apart is I really try to highlight other members of the online Halloween community. So it's fellow content creators, other small business owners, people who do home haunts, people who are running events, just kind of the people around the country and around the world, honestly, that make Halloween magic happen for all of us. It's really fun to kind of dig into their stories, tell a little bit of that behind the scenes. But then, of course, we're also doing some of the traditional stuff, sharing costume ideas, sharing recipes. This year's magazine has some Halloween party tips and tricks from myself in there. So just kind of a little bit of everything. And it's really fun to, I don't know, just find new ideas and explore different angles of Halloween every year with it.
You mentioned home haunts. Not sure what that is. Could you go into a little more detail on that?
Yeah, definitely. So it's this whole world. It's really fun once you kind of dig into it. There's a lot of people, they're not the professional level of hunters. They're kind of like a step down. They like decorate their front yard. They maybe set up a little maze or something on their driveway, in their backyard, even in their garage sometimes. A lot of stuff for trick-or-treaters. This is something that's really popular out on the West Coast too, specifically in LA. There's a lot of people, who work in the movie industry, the TV industry, and do these big, huge yard haunts that people will just drive by and kind of take in every year. So it's really, I don't know, just kind of a fun sector of Halloween, I guess we'll call it, to explore and show off those people and all their creativity.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm from Pennsylvania, and where I'm from, it's very popular for certain neighborhoods to put up a bunch of Christmas lights, like very elaborate, just over the top Christmas lights. And it's kind of the same thing, except instead of Halloween, it's people going to see the lights. So it's people going to see the Halloween decorations.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe get a little bit scared too.
So how can you tell me about how you started Spooky Little Halloween? You already touched on that, but could you expand on it a little more?
Yeah, so it was just a whole bunch of different things that sort of came together all at once. So, like I mentioned, it was a little bit of I just wanted a space to show off my own Halloween parties that I was hosting. I was finding myself out on the internet looking for ideas, trying to see what other people were doing, come up with different themes and do that kind of stuff. And there just wasn't a whole lot out there. There was a handful, two or three maybe that I'd run across every year. And so I thought, okay, well, I have the knowledge to do this. Why not me? So that was the starting place for it. And then it also was just, I think back to using Pinterest a ton and just saving all kinds of ideas too. And it just got so overwhelming that I was like, we really kind of need to break the Halloween stuff out from that and just do our own thing and or just start a site where I can document my own things that I'm doing. So it was just kind of that. And I think I accidentally hit it at the perfect moment. So I'm 41. I feel like there's a lot of, 80s babies that grew up in the 90s, went trick-or-treating in the early 90s. And we just like, we all want that time back so much. And I feel like I just kind of landed in a community where there was other people that were looking for that kind of stuff too. So that was how the lifestyle content got started. It was the parties, but then it was stepping into, well, what if I expanded this into let's find some cool Halloween clothing that we could wear all year? Or what if we Halloweenified spring or summer or the winter holidays? Just kind of exploring all these different areas. And as I was doing that, there were other creators that were doing that as well. And it's just become this really cool online Halloween community over the last decade.
Can you tell me more about the Halloween community or I guess your readers? I think I already have a
Yeah.
pretty good idea, but let's hear it from you.
So honestly, I feel like I created Spooky Little Halloween for myself. Like I am my own ideal reader, somebody who is looking for Halloween ideas for parties, for decorating, any of that kind of stuff, but just looking for ways to incorporate that fun into their world. And I feel like a lot of my readers are probably women my age or a little bit younger, a little bit older, but in the same age range that are looking to do the same thing and maybe just recapture a little bit of that Halloween magic in any way that they can for themselves, for their families, for their friends, etc.
So, what kind of problems do you typically run into with these individuals?
With readers, you mean?
With readers or just the Halloween community in general?
Gotcha. I think it's a lot of just looking for new ideas. People want to see something that's new, that's different, that's next. And those are the problems that I'm trying to solve for my readers. I ask them a lot, what do you want to see? What are you looking for? I find a lot of it is like decor, like I want to do this, but I'm not quite sure how to do it, or I want to do this costume, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. So just trying to be that problem solver too for my readers and come up with my own ideas or suggestions or recommendations or point them back to content that I've done in the past that can help solve those problems too. Does
How
that
do you
answer
go?
that question?
That does answer it, but it also ties into my next question of how do you go about solving those problems?
Yeah, so a lot of times I can point my readers back to content that I've already done. Again, I've been at this for 10 years, so there is a lot in my blog archives, never mind the printed magazine archives. So it's really fun to be able to say, hey, wait, I got something for that and point them back to previous content. But then sometimes it's just, okay, that is a really great question. I'd never thought about that before. Let me sit and think about that for a little while. And it's not always an immediate answer. Sometimes I hear the question or the problem that I'm trying to solve in June or July, and it's not going to be till like next March or April before I really feel like I've gotten a solid idea for it. But it's just, I don't know, it's always fun brainstorming and just seeing what my readers want to see next and trying to deliver that to them.
How has print helped elevate your business? I actually have a couple of your printed projects right here. They turned out great.
Nice. Thank you. I would say Halloween magazines, again, I think it's just kind of for this age range that I'm into, but they're just such a nostalgic thing. I think people think back to childhood and seeing the Halloween decorations in grocery stores and small businesses and stuff and the magazines on the shelves. And it's really fun to see one, I think, that gives some of those same things, the recipes, the decor, the costumes, but also reflects this online community that they're part of. At least I hope that's what the readers are taking away from it. And I feel like providing that, it's not something that anybody else was doing, at least not that I was aware of when I first started doing print with my Halloween stuff. And since then, there's been a couple other things that have popped up that it's been really cool to see that happen too. But I think it's just people like having that physical thing in their hand. It's just, I always say it's a little bit of Halloween magic to hold in your hands, have delivered to your mailbox, and just take with you through the rest of the year.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. It's something physical. It's a departure from screens. As soon as you hit the button on your phone and the screen goes black, it's gone. But with something like this, it's permanent. You could leave a stack of them out on your coffee table for a guest to pick up and thumb through. I just think print is more permanent than digital media.
I agree, and I try to be really mindful in what I put in my magazines as well. You saw the fun size is what I call them, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
full size,
these.
kind of like the candy bars. Yeah, some of those are a little bit more seasonal, but with the full size one that I do every fall, I really try to be mindful and put a lot of stuff that's going to feel timeless, that's evergreen, it's not of the moment. It's something that you can refer to back to year after year.
So, Spooky Little Halloween is already very unique, but how do you stand out from other businesses in your field?
Oh man. One of the ways that I've really tried to do that is by just trying to participate in the community. I talk about it a lot, but really just being mindful that I get to be part of this community. And it just was kind of really cool to come in on the early end of it. And I feel like I've helped define some of the content in this space too, which has been really cool. It's been fun to see other content creators come behind me and even take what I'm doing and like do it way better. Like everybody who does video, that is something that is so not my skill set as, a print, old school print journalist. But it's been really cool to see people come in behind me. And it's so fun to cheer them on too. And I think the beauty of this space is that there's no wrong way to do it. And everybody's take on Halloween is a little bit different. So, like, even if myself and my friends over at Your Best Halloween Ever, we're both putting up a similar recipe, we're going to approach it from such a completely different angle that it's really fun to see where everything lands. It's just giving back to the community, being aware of that, and cheering on other creators who are doing really cool things. I feel like is one of the ways that I try to set myself apart.
Well, it sounds like you have a very close-knit community. It's good to hear that you're so supportive of each other.
It's nice. This is definitely, we talk about it all the time, but it is definitely the coolest online community I've ever been a part of. I think that's part of why it's so rewarding to be able to do something in print and actually see 1,000 of them fly out the door every year because it just kind of makes that online experience real. It's so cool.
So I saw on your website that you've been featured in publications like the Washington Post, the New York Times. Those are some pretty big accomplishments. Can you tell me about any other major milestones that have defined you or defined Spooky Little Halloween?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think starting the print magazine like that very first year, I almost didn't do it. I almost talked myself out of it. And I'm so glad that I kept going with it because it's grown every year. The number of pages has gone up every year that I've done it. Here in 2025, we hit 80 pages, which is just wild
Oh,
to me.
wow, that's all. Yeah, that's a lot.
She's a thick magazine this year. So that's been a really cool component of this. I think one of the other exciting things for me has been getting to go out to different Halloween events around the country and actually getting to be a participant in those, like a speaker at those. The biggest one that I've done is Midsummer Scream, which is the largest Halloween and horror convention that takes place in Long Beach in the late summer, like late July, early August timeframe every year. And a couple years ago, I got to do a session about Halloween hunting, basically going out, when to start looking for Halloween decor out in the wild when it pops up in stores. And it just was really cool to be part of that event and have that platform.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It sounds like a really cool event to go and attend.
Definitely.
So, can you tell me about any challenges or obstacles that are holding you or your business back right now?
Yeah, so I think one of them is just the struggle of social media. I talk about this with my audience a lot, and I actually jumped off of social media completely earlier this year, kind of just to take a break from it. It just feels like it is such a rat race anymore. It's really hard to break through the algorithm that is always changing. And so I decided I'm going to stop wasting my energy on something that's really not driving a whole lot of sales for me when it comes to the magazine and shift over. I started using Patreon and they have a free tier now. So I've been doing that and it's been a really fun, so I guess social media experiment of its own. But and I'm sure other print businesses or other small businesses out there probably feel that pain too. It just the social landscape just keeps changing and not necessarily for the better. And I don't think it's just on our side that we feel it too. I think our audiences are absolutely feeling that pain too and are looking for something different. So I don't know, it's been rewarding trying something different, experimenting and rebuilding my community that I used to have online that I liked 10 years ago on Instagram.
Trust me, I definitely feel that social media is a big part of what we do and what I do, and just staying relevant. It's constant. You can't not pay attention because if you don't pay attention to it for only a little bit, it's everything's changed.
Definitely.
So, kind of a different couple of questions here. If you had a day completely free to spend however you'd like, how would you spend it?
Oh, I am such a coffee girly. I love going to a local coffee shop here in Minneapolis. So definitely would hit up one of those, probably bring a book with me and just camp out for like an hour or two and get caught up on my reading. And then honestly, probably go wander a local bookstore, wander a local record store. That's kind of, when I need a little pick me up, that's usually what you can find me doing. And I am really lucky to live in a city that is really supportive of small businesses. And there are so many local businesses to check out like that. So probably that, and then topping it off with a nice dinner at a quiet little restaurant and just hanging out for the evening with a good cocktail and probably finishing more of that book.
More question. What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, okay. So here's a fun fact about me. I am not a great horror movie watcher. I have become better since starting Spooky Little Halloween. I kind of went on a journey during early on in the pandemic to watch a whole bunch of classic horror movies. I have a couple though. So the first one that I ever saw was Rosemary's Baby, and so that just kind of holds a special place in my heart. Amityville Horror was an early one that I saw too, and that one legitimately scared me. So that one kind of holds a special place in my heart. I think overall though, Midsommar, however you want to say it. That one is just, I love a good for her moment in a horror movie. And that one is just, it's so good. That ending is just such beautiful payoff.
I haven't seen it, so don't spoil it.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm really big into 28 Days Later. I think that's my favorite horror
Ah,
film. And The Thing,
nice.
John Carpenter's The Thing, that's probably my second favorite.
I have not seen that one. That's one of the classics that I need to add to my list for this year.
It's uh it's a little gory, just heads up. But
That's
it's
what I struggle with horror movies is the gore. I'm not like blood and guts on like Grey's Anatomy. I'm not so good with. So there's a lot of horror that I don't do well with for that.
one last question for you. How can our listeners get in touch, join your community, collaborate with you on a project? What's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, so you can find me over at spookylittlehalloween.com. That's the best place to join me. I have a weekly newsletter that I send all year long called Treats Not Tricks. You get a weekly Halloween treat in your inbox every Friday morning if you're in the US or some point during the day on Friday or maybe even early Saturday, depending on where you are in the world. But that's been a really fun project to work on. Those are probably the two easiest ways since I'm kind of a little in and out on social media these days.
Well, did you have any questions for me?
None that I can think of.
Well, I'd say that's a wrap on another episode of Behind the Print. Thank you to our listeners for joining us as we explore the artistry and innovation of the printing world. Remember, having a strong vision, building the right strategy, and using tools like print to amplify your message will make your brand stand out from the crowd. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to get your sample pack today from printingcenterusa.com and share it with your fellow business enthusiasts. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying, and remember, there's always more to discover behind the print.